Oh, hi friends. Welcome back to my channel, A Little Geek, A Little Chic. We're here to discuss all the books that I read in October, and there's quite a few of them. So grab yourself your beverage of choice, and let's get into it. My October wrap-up. So I started the month out reading really great, and then things took a little bit of a turn the last week or so. I didn't read as much as I wanted to finish off the month, but I'm still very proud of what I read, especially since my reading has been iffy at best for this year, just depending on, the whole situation. Anxieties are high, everybody's on high alert, everybody's feeling glum. So my reading kind of did take a little bit of a turn, but I feel like I'm on the upswing again, and I'm ready to discuss what I read in October with you guys. So, to start things off, I listened to all of the Riley Sager books that were available on Scribd. This included Lock Every Door, The Last Time I Lied, Final Girls, and Home Before Dark. I loved all of them. Some of them, my favorites, were definitely Home Before Dark, the most recent release of Riley Sager, which is around about a young lady whose father became famous for writing a horror novel discussing the ordeals that the family went through when they lived in a haunted estate. Their family moved there. They didn't have a lot of money. People had passed away in the house, which and strange things start to happen, which the family flees the house. This is at the very beginning, so it's not a spoiler. And he writes a book about it, which haunts her for her whole life. And when her father passes, she decides to take back on this house that she's inherited and prove that everything that was written was false. So, was it false? You should read it or listen to it. I really thoroughly enjoyed the audiobook. I gave this book a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I did not see the twist coming. It was great. The other book of Riley Sager that I liked a lot was Lock Every Door. So this is about a young woman who is in New York City, and she's had a recent bad turn of events that have left her sleeping on her friend's couch and with no income or job. She is looking for a source of income and finds an advertisement for an apartment sitter that turns into maybe more than apartment sitting. There's a lot of rules with this apartment sitting. There's a lot of strange and mysterious things that go on in this building, and you find out more as you read along, and I did not see these twists coming. This one was fantastic. The backstory, the characters, all top notch. I gave this book a 5 out of 5. So it kept me enthralled. The audiobook and all the characters were great. I didn't lose anything being an audiobook. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Final Girls and The Last Time I Lied. These two books I gave a 3 to. They were not my favorites of the Riley Sager collection that I read or listened to in this instance on Scribd. I did enjoy it thoroughly. However, I found the characters somewhat for the Final Girls to be slightly annoying at times, iffy. They felt like they were put in front of you to be a certain type of character, and I just didn't feel like it delivered as much as I wanted. Perhaps it was because I listened to it in audio book format, and I might have gotten a better experience from reading it. That does not mean I didn't enjoy the book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. it was not my favorite of the books of Riley Sager's that I took in this month. As for The Last Time I Lied, I did enjoy it slightly more than Final Girls. It's about a young woman who goes to a summer camp. Something goes wrong when she's there. The camp shuts down because of what happened, and she is haunted by the experience for her life until she gets a chance to return to said summer camp. And she takes it as an opportunity to right the wrongs of the year when she attended. So I liked it. Again, I didn't feel like the story was as good and as developed as Lock Every Door or Home Before Dark. The next book that I actually read partly and partly listened to was The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This book was fantastic. Every character has their own secrets. Every character has their twists and turns. I found them to be thoroughly engrossing and realistic in their faults. So The Guest List by Lucy Foley is about a group of famous A-listers who decide to have their wedding on this remote Scottish island that you have to get to by boat. Rough waters, a storm ensues, and somebody dies. Who did it? Who has the motive? Everybody's got some kind of backstory secret. This one is definitely worth a read. I'm not going to describe them, like I said, too much because I don't want to give away any of the twists and turns for the characters or the story for you, especially if you're planning on reading it. This one I gave 4 out of 5 too. I did find it a little slow going to get into, and I did find that it took me a little while to for it to grip me so that I'd want to pick it back up again. But every time I picked it up, I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I would say 4 out of 5 for this one. The next book I read, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. Wow, was I not prepared for what I got into with this book. This book has the gore. It's like a literary horror suspense, but it's not like a mystery. It's got some gruesome parts, but also the nostalgia is fantastic. So it's set in the 90s, and you get a lot of the 90s vibes from it. There's jokes, there's references. I've thoroughly enjoyed this book. I kept picking it up. I honestly read through this in 2 days, you guys. And let's take a moment to appreciate the wit of the naked cover. Okay, so Grady Hendrix has a very interesting style about him. It's just a very nice green cover. And on the front, he has given us the stamp of the Mountbatten Library, or Mount Pleasant, sorry, South Carolina Library, and the call number. Because, book club. It's great. The characters I found were great. I found that some of them were slightly annoying, but I think they were made to be that way so that you wouldn't put them as one of your favorites and you wouldn't really put them as a hero or a villain type character, and you let the story play out on its own and the story decide if you like them or not. So, great book. Basically what it's about is a group of ladies who are in a book club looking for something to be excited about. They have like a true crime reading book club, which is not standard. Their husbands don't agree with it because they're supposed to be well-mannered Southern ladies, and this is the kind of books they've chosen to read. And things in this community are pleasant and wonderful, and nothing seems to go wrong until a new person moves in and things start to get a little bit odd and a little bit crazy, and they go vampire hunting. So it again took a while to get to the point of the vampire huntingness, which I was expecting it a little bit sooner, but when it got there, it was not short on thrills and excitement. So great book. This book, I enjoyed it so much. I gave it a 5. Warnings though, there's a lot of trigger warnings for these books, so be sure you look them up. All the books I'm telling you about, just in case you are sensitive to that. This one I know for sure has a lot of bugs and rats and creepy crawlies and stuff like that. So just a heads up. Okay, so then I picked up The Night Swim by Megan Golding. I got this one from my local library, as you can see. This one I gave a 3. I know a lot of people were raving about it on BookTube, and I really wanted to love it. I did. I think I might have gotten more out of it if I had listened to it on audiobook. Yeah, because it does have that podcast element, I feel like perhaps audiobook would be the way to go with this one. So if you're wanting to read or take this one in, I would recommend maybe testing the waters with the audiobook first. I did like it a lot, but it just didn't leave me wanting to pick it up. And I'm not a big courtroom novel kind of person. I don't really read a lot of courtroom drama and courtroom thriller mysteries. So maybe that's where it fell short for me, because it's a lot of courtroom. But the podcast element and her hunting for stuff for this podcast, true crime podcast, is fantastic. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts myself. I'm super hooked on Creepy Caffiene. So if you guys haven't heard of Creepy Caffiene, give her a look up. The 2 ladies that host that one are great. I just listened to an episode of theirs about the Winnipeg bus massacre. And since I live in Canada and just a province over from Manitoba where this happened, it was big news when it happened. I highly recommend listening to their podcast, and all the stories they tell, they give it justice. So that's another thing I've been really digging this month a lot, outside of audiobooks. Next, I got this from my library. Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? So what it is it's a collection by Caitlin Doughty, I think is her name. I apologize if I pronounced that incorrectly. She is a mortician. And so she takes questions that young people have asked her, and she answers those questions in real life. Like, when I die, will my cat eat my eyeballs? Or what happens to dead bodies in space? Or if a dead body decomposes, will it contaminate our water? So these are all questions that I know some people have thought of before. Or like, hey, if I eat a whole bag of popcorn and then get cremated, will I pop popcorn all over the place? Stuff like that. So it's good. It didn't keep me wanting more. I continue reading it. I felt like the descriptions of the things they were funny, but it was almost like forced funny. It wasn't for me, guys. I gave this one a 2. I read it. I wouldn't reread it. It's kind of just missed the mark for me. And maybe it was just the mood I was in at the time. I did try to pick this one up close to the end of the month where things got a little chaotic in my October. So it was okay, but it just wasn't one for me. Next I have Coraline by Neil Gaiman. You guys, I have never read Coraline. I know. It is a classic. It is a well-loved classic. It is spooky. It is everything great about the fall. And so what it is a young lady named Coraline who lives in a flat in England, not too far, I don't think, from London, because at one point her father does go to London at the beginning of the book. And there's a door in their flat that they rent. This building has multiple flats. And the door in the room, the sitting room, they go into it, or the drawing room, I think they call it, has a key. You put the key in, it opens the door, there's a brick wall behind it. Nothing out of the ordinary happens. The flat that connects to it is vacant, so her parents say. And that's it. Until one day when Coraline is looking for something to do, and she gets the key down and opens the door, and the brick wall is gone. So she ventures through the doorway, and all kinds of crazy ensue. Basically an alternate dimension to the life that she currently lives. And it's kind of creepy. The descriptions of the people are creepy. The alternate universe style through the looking glass characters and scenarios are creepy. It was just a good time to read, but also a bit spooky. So I enjoyed it. Would recommend. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5. The next one's just a feel-good read, you guys. Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell. I know this one is very popular here on BookTube. And I finally picked it up, and it just gave me all the cozy, warm vibes. Nice break from all the like spooky gore or horror stuff that I'm reading. If you hear a cat around, she's back. She's hanging out over here by my books. So she might be, if she meows or something and you hear that, my apologies. This one here, the pictures are fantastic. Basically, it's about a young gentleman and a female, his friend, who they've been working together for multiple summers at this pumpkin patch place. And it just sounds great. It's like a fair. Like, it sounds like a fall fair atmosphere nonstop in this. And the way they describe things are great. Like, the pumpkin bombs are like a pumpkin pie dipped in chocolate on a stick and frozen. So who doesn't want that? I want one right now. So they get together and they basically have their one last hurrah adventure before the two of them are done for this summer, and they go off to colleges and they won't be working together anymore. It is amazing. The art style is fantastic. I'm going to show you guys some of the art here. Let me find a page that has no spoilers or anything on it. There is a beautiful picture right in the front of what this place looks like. And it's like a map of the whole patch. Oh, it's just fantastic. I cannot say enough about this. So pick this up. It is just a great fall read, and it will just make your heart happy. Okay, that one is, it's like, there's not a ton of depth to it. It's a graphic novel that's just about the warm feels, which it totally gives you. So I'm gonna go 3.5 out of 5 stars on that one. It's not a bad rating by any means. So it's a great book. Finally, the last one. Man, did I read a lot. I read and I listened to a lot more content than I thought I did, which, thumbs up, is Ruth Ware. One by One by Ruth Ware. Now, did I enjoy this book? Yes. I see that there's a lot of mixed feelings in regards to this book on Booktube, because if you've read a lot of her books in the past, people don't feel like they really felt connected to the characters. There's a lot of dry parts where they talk about business. I get that. I get that wholeheartedly. I am going to go out there and tell you guys that this is the first Ruth Ware book that I have read. Look at the cover. It's just stunning. It's iridescent. It's amazing. Now, what it's about is it's about a startup company who they take a corporate retreat because there's a buyout looming, and they're going to a ski slope. They're going to ski. They're going to discuss this buyout and what people want to do, and they're going to vote on it. And everyone who has a stake in the company and or is currently employed with the company is on this retreat. It's not very big. Like I said, it's a startup app company. Then something starts to happen, and there's an avalanche and some other things go down, and the people start getting picked off one by one, hence the title. A lot of people that read this don't find this their favorite Ruth Ware book. If they've read others, especially Turn of the Key, I believe it is, that is her most popular one on YouTube, and like on Booktube here by far. I do own that book. I have not read it yet. But after reading this book, if that one's better, I'm going to read it, because I actually did enjoy this book. I got through it very quickly. When I picked it up to read it, I flew through the pages. I actually read it this month as a buddy read with another friend of mine here on Booktube, Kim at Bookshelf Bunny. She and I bought this book for her birthday, because she is a Ruth Ware fan. And I bought myself a copy, and I said for her birthday we were going to read it as a buddy read. And we did. And each time we finished reading so many pages, we would text each other our feelings about the book. Now, one gripe I do have with the book is I feel like the person that's responsible for the situations, it gets developed and it gets told to you very early. Like there's still 100 and some pages left in this book when they told you, when they kind of develop and divulge to you who's responsible. So there's a lot of time left to play out the whys, and I found that that part kind of lost me once I found out that what I was thinking was correct. And it was kind of like, after that, it was kind of like, oh, well, okay, I guess it's this person, and I'll read the rest of the pages to find out what their motive was. But I was kind of disappointed that there wasn't a bigger twist, like that's who it was. And so I can see why people, if they've read a lot of Ruth Ware before, were disappointed in this book. A lot of people also say they're not a huge fan of all the corporate talk in this book. Also, they found that very dry. So again, I didn't mind that personally. I kind of found that the corporate buyout aspect, financial part of it, gave it some background for the characters and some merit. So I actually enjoyed that book. I gave this book, because I did enjoy some of the characters, the setting, the descriptions. It's written really well. And I did, like I said, flew through it when I picked it up. Every time I picked it up to read the assigned pages in our buddy read, I flew through it. No problem. No questions asked. It was not a hard read for me to get through at all. So I put this one up there at 3 out of 5 stars. So far this month, I have read 6 physical books, and I listened to 4 audiobooks. I'd say that's a pretty good month for me. Next month, I have a TBR coming at you for November. I'm going to try something a little outside my comfort zone, so stick with me. Come on back, and we'll get into my TBR in the next video. Until then, don't forget to pick up your copy of The Quibbler this month, and I'll see you guys in my next video coming soon. Thanks for watching. Like it if you like this video, and don't forget to subscribe down there. Happy Halloween, everybody.